propagating at my fingers. When the pressure on my fingers finally is overcome, it slips, and then a sound wave comes between my fingers and my ears, and then in the microphone, and then over to your ears. And the equivalent of that is the earthquake shaking in the ground, traveling. The sensors detect that they notify, the signals are combined together at an earthquake alert sensor that determine that yes, this is going to be a sizable earthquake, and they determine where the shaking will be intense enough that people want to or need to protect themselves. So it's only going to send you the signal if you're in that region, that area, kind of by like the cell phone towers in that area, kind of like that's we're going to get that message. And there are a couple of ways you get this. Get it as a wireless emergency alert, kind of like the test that was done last week. This will only be for a magnitude 5 or greater earthquake with an intensity of shaking that's kind of where things start to fall. You may also want to download the My Shake app, which will give you a notification of a smaller earthquake, 4.5. That's shakes. The Android phones on the right have that built into it. The key thing is that this is going to give you notice if you're kind of a little far away from the earthquake to where there's time for the system to figure out. It's very quick, only a few seconds, but still you need to be a little bit further away. So if you're right next to it, you're not going to get a notice. And if you're too far from it, of course, you may not get a notification because the shaking won't be strong for you. But if it's a very large earthquake and the shaking is estimated to be strong, you're going to have even more time because it's going to take a while for the waves to get to you, maybe up to 30 seconds of those. The guidance that comes out in the apps is still saying drop, cover, hold on, not running outside. And the notices don't tell you how big it's going to be and how long it's going to take to get to you. So all it's saying is drop, cover, hold on, earthquake, strong shaking expected. So it's not time to ask others, do you think we should really do something? It really does mean drop, cover, hold on. I also want to note that if you have an app from a few years ago called Shake Alert LA, that is no longer functioning in terms of providing the notice. So that has effectively been replaced through the statewide, actually West Coast wide My Shake app. And there are a couple other apps like Quake Alert USA, but very few other earthquake apps you may have, especially if you've had them for a while, for giving you the notice before the shaking arrives at you. They're telling you a few minutes later where the earthquake was. So make sure you have the right app. Okay, and then also we have, as I mentioned, our information in both English and Spanish, and both the Shakeout website, shakeout.org/Espanol, and our terremotos.org. But we also have materials in 16 languages. So at Earthquake Country, languages, guidance for earthquake safety, earthquake preparedness, and a lot of good material there. So please go and check that out. If you have congregations and members that speak other languages, direct them to this or provide them these materials. We have a lot of shakeout pages for you to use to inform your members, inform your community about your participation in the drill, how to run your drill. We have presentations you can download that make it really easy to not only lead your drill in person, but also virtually. This is extended at shakeout.org/messaging with social media, sample messages, Zoom backgrounds like behind me that you can use. Just a lot of great content there too. And maybe some of you have schools as part of your organization. So we do have a lot of school resources, shakeout.org/schools, there for guidance. And also a lot of great materials for children's ages 4 through 9 at rocketrules.org/earthquake. activity books, coloring pages, story books, videos, and much more that you can find there. It's really all of us together, working together, that makes all of this work and makes it more likely for us to be prepared to survive and recover when these earthquakes and other emergencies happen. So if you even haven't participated in Shakeout before, or you haven't done anything yet, it's totally still time. It's really simple. And you don't have to have your activity on next Thursday. You likely that's not when your community comes together. You really can adapt that to your own schedule, have your drill any day of the year. And, really make sure you're coming together, looking at opportunities like the city has through its Ready or LA neighborhood program, CERT training, all these. This really makes a big difference. So to connect with us, just of course our web pages. If you have any questions about earthquakes, please email us at info@earthquakecountry.org, and in particular about Shakeout at info@shakeout.org. Brenda, I'm done, and if there are any questions, I'll be happy to take.
Are there any questions for Mark?
Yes, one.
Okay, let's try this, Mark. I think you might be able to hear them. Just be as loud as possible. Go ahead.
Was your presentation tape? The one you just did, was it taped so I could pass it on?
Drafted as a part of the presentation was recorded. It was not recorded, but I can send the slides to you.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Yes. Could you send the slides to all of us?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, and how many of you are going to participate in the Great Shakeout this week? Okay, Mark, good news is that all of the hands are raised.
Great. Make sure you're registered. If you haven't, you can check by going to the website and logging in. If you're the person, or look, there's a list of the participants as well. So just make sure that you're actually counted for this year. If you've registered in the past, doesn't mean we're expecting you to be this year. So thank you very much for your participation and your time today. Have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Bye.
Perfect. I'm glad that so many of you are actually joining in on the Great Shakeout. It's so much fun. It's really great way to, like, I remember in school we used to do it. And you kind of get used to it, right? Same thing with fire drill, right? But the more you do it, the more you're gonna know what to do. So we're not gonna go under the door frame, right? We're gonna go under the table, right? Awesome. So I'm gonna introduce Lauren. She's gonna talk a little bit about the local hazard mitigation plan. I'm gonna have the flyer here.
Lauren.
I'll take long.
So we're doing our local hazard mitigation plan, and this is basically a survey that we want everybody to take in the city of Los Angeles, just to get their responses. The survey is kind of long, but it's going to help us gauge what kind of disasters everybody's prone to in their cities, in their neighborhoods. And so when we redo our plans, it's just going to help us know more. We have like a bunch of, I think it's 40 like annexes that we follow for like every disasters, fires, rain, wind, earthquake, who knows, tornadoes in the future. We don't know anymore. But the survey is just to get the responses from everybody. So when we do our plans, we know how to make the mitigation efforts that apply to everybody in English and Spanish. So if you can take your time just to take the survey and take it to everybody you know, that'd be great. And that's basically, I just wanted to introduce it.
Is it all?
I'll also add, when we do our plan, when we get the public opinion, it really heightens our requirements and what we're asking for. So when we write plans saying, for example, very basic earthquake, we want to build better codes for buildings. Well, to get that federal money, we need the public opinion that you guys want that as well. So that's why we have this survey out to the public to get everyone's opinions on what do you all think is the most important to protect ourselves here in Los Angeles. That way we can add your opinions to our plan to, make it more credible. And that way we have more of a chance to get federal money to then pay for these type of projects.
I noticed you have a QR code. Is it available online?
Yes.
Yes. We have Instagram at ReadyLA.
Or could
Uh,
you say
it's
that a little
online.
slower, please?
Oh, it's at ReadyLA, ReadyLA. That's our Instagram. The QR code's on there as well. We also have it on our website at emergency.lacity.gov. It's on there as well, so it's available on all platforms. And if you could take it, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I just had a question. We're in LA County, so. Yeah, that's running for LA. That's all right, yeah.
But if you drive through LA City. Ways.
But the city of Oregon did do for a local population. That was on the. So they. Year. But if you wanna join the committee, I'm actually suggest you, speak with, forgot her name, but yeah, so if you live in another jurisdiction, like it's great to be part of those committees. Sometimes they are open to the public. So I would recommend that. Yes.
That's just if you have any questions, that's the email. The QR code is on there. It's on our Instagram and it's on our website.
Okay, on the Instagram.
So it's on our website.
On your website address.
It's dot LACity.
So I can send that email address to my staff. And
Yeah,
let
it's
them
the
know
website.
That if they use the QR code. Thank you.
Yeah, are there any other questions?
I have a question, but it's not really related to, it's more about this task force.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, this is my first time to hear about this task force, and I want to know, it's wonderful to get to meet people from different churches, and also to hear about your program. I have my own program of vaccination, saving nations, things like that. But I want to know, how often do you meet? Do you meet here all the time? Or, things like that.
Yeah, so we meet quarterly throughout the year. So the last meeting we had was July 12th, right? And that was at the American Red Cross, as we kind of toured their emergency operations center. So we're now gonna hold them here just because I feel like it's kind of central to everyone. And it's a lot easier for everyone to find parking because there's no parking in LA, right? So all the meetings will be held here and they're quarterly. The next meeting is in, that's why I'm gonna add you to the calendar invite. It adds you to all the events we have. Yeah, so when you say yes to the calendar invite, it adds all of those dates to the calendar. But I'll let you know the calendar, but yeah, we do meet quarterly and we're trying to do more training for you guys too, like intro to ICS. I want to do CERT for all of you, so you can all do CERT certified, because that's a really big one. And then also do tabletop exercises. But for the last one, we had a police officer who was from the Central Bureau. His name was Officer Burciaga. And he said that he was actually very open to doing like tours of the different locations and going to do like an active shooter training at your location. So if people are interested in that, we can definitely set that up for you. Because that would be good. I think it's one thing to learn the training from like just listening to someone give the training, but when you're actually at your site and you're going through the emergency exits, you're going to see, you're gonna have a lot of people that are vulnerable, right? If you have someone that's elderly, how are you gonna evacuate them? Where are you gonna keep up? How are you gonna shelter in place? So that's also something that we want to do. So we want to train you all up. That's our main objective for this task force. Yes.
And I've been coming to these for many years. And it was great gathering. And it was perfect to totally with the prayer because we were able to communicate. It really was wonderful. The things we saw before COVID was just because of their impacted to them. And given what's happening in the middle of the president, and we hold our services in a facility. And so we're all very heightened with respect to the possibility. Can we get some more of that from you?
Yes.
If we need to contact someone to train our staff, is this where we would contact the time
Yes,
trainers?
yeah, so we have a contact for Central, we would go to different bureau, wherever your health and nutrition is located. That's who you would contact. They usually do have an office tutor person. They have sometimes an entire team, but they get staffed out really quickly. So you can reach out to me and then we'll try to get somebody. But if you do have the training at your location, I would love to invite everyone else, just so we can see how it would be, if they were to do it at their location.
And we can do it one quarterly?
Yes, yeah, I would love to do that. If you want to host our meeting at our meeting at the location, please feel free to let me know. I would love that, just so we can go visit and take a tour of your location. Yes.
Yeah, I'm also the representative of the 10,000 Fearless. This is an organization based out of Houston, Texas. They're the first responders. About 5 years ago, they came out here to Los Angeles and did a weekend training for CERT and issued certifications. It's a team of 6 people. They pay for their own flights, etc. I'm sorry, they pay for their own personnel, but they need flight and accommodations like I think $3,500 or something just for them to come for a weekend. But they can scale up to dozens of people. If we could work out a way to get that done, they could come as often as we want them to.
Yeah, and there's also the CSPI classes and like the FIBA ICS classes that you can take online too. Some of those are free. So yeah, we can definitely look into those courses if anyone's interested in any more of that. There was another question. Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah, this one. Yes, they do. They've been very strict about that now. So you should have, that's why I mentioned the parking lot. So if you want to take it, there's several here. There was another question, yes.
So, we're also looking at, we're also talking to several churches about creating their own DAT team. I've been on the disaster action team with the American Red Cross for 15 years. So we respond to like 30 to 40 house fires every month. We get training 4 times a year at Caltech. We train along with CERT and along with the fire department as well. 4 times a year at Caltech. If, I'm out of Metro chapter, we can engage as individuals or as a group to either participate just in answering phone calls or responding to house fires as we do as individuals or as a group. They're building each chapter right now so you can participate as you want. Sometimes I can't deploy. I just go to the TV stations, do my little rescue riding thing and just raise some capital for those victims of those different disasters and that sort of thing. So if you go up on the Red Cross website, just look at disaster action team, look at what they do. There's so many different things you can do to deploy or in the office. And let's get more involved. The training is free. And you get some real robust training from the American Red Cross, not just about blood drives and things like that, but there's so many other things that's going on, especially with there being so many different disasters and man-made and other things in the world. And you could even train to deploy. And right now they're doing a big push to try to recruit more people in the community. I'm trying to get more African Americans to participate in disaster action team, because usually when I respond to a house fire in Watts, Compton, it's usually people coming from Redondo Beach, Manhattan Beach. And if there's 6 of us, I'm usually the only African American. So we need to participate in looking at what we need for our own community, but start getting training through the American Red Cross, which is free. Certifications is free and that sort of thing. So I can help in any way when we all connect and give each other information. So
I just want to mention one thing. There is also a stop the bleed training that's available. You can go to stopthebleed.org.
What's that?
Stop the bleed.
Stopthebleed.org.
Yeah, and that's a free training. If you guys are talking about active shooter. So stop the bleed is to be able to learn how to use assistant to be able to stop the bleeding of an individual so that they won't bleed out. Okay, so there's training online. A lot of the hospitals provide the training for free to the community. And stopthebleed.org has a website, and you can just type in your zip code to find all the training available in your community.
Yeah, and, we partner a lot with LAFC, they did it for our last meeting, we can have them come back to do something.
Yeah, it's free. It's all free. It's learning how to be able to stop the bleeding, use a tourniquet, using compressions to be able to keep someone alive while you're waiting for them.
Yeah, extremely important. You had your hand up all the way to the back, so.
Okay. So, for example, if I have a workload of people.
What would I do? Contact the nearest emergency center? Because I am gonna have security in that type of buses. But somebody's hurt. So what would be my protocol?
How do you call the 911? That would be going to.
But I'm just trying to get other alternatives to, but they're gonna be taken care of. You know? So.
I have a suggestion. There's one organization that had the same sort of situation. It was moving around, transportation company like Access Training. They sent someone to American Red Cross and had them train in shortwave radio, because that's really the only way you're gonna be able to really communicate. So it's only like $200 to get somebody on your team, whether it's your driver, certified for shortwave radio, and then keep it on that bus. That's gonna be a way that he can continue to communicate. If all the 5G is down, if all the internet is down, you can still do shortwave radio and get emergency services. Because they'll be telling you which communication line. If you train with CERT and the fire department, they'll tell you which station to turn into and give you a tagline for your shortwave radio. You have to be licensed and certified. You always have communication where they tell you, somebody can tell you either shelter in place or make your way to this place or that place. You just want to be able to communicate with the emergency response, the fire department, police department, and shortwave radio is the only way. Even just for emergency sake, right now, just go to a Home Depot and buy you a nice shortwave radio walkie-talkie, a nice good one. And that would be a way to keep in communication like right now.
Okay, so who do I contact for?
The American Red Cross, and you want the shortwave training certification.
I think CERT also has.
CERT does.
Yeah.
They
also
do the same. Yeah.
So that would be the one too, but if there's an active shooter, 911, like you're gonna call me, so. But the radio is a big one, a lot of people do communication radio with them. Yeah.
And CD radio, all the same around.
Yeah, no, different wavelength, different distances, with the shortwave communication, you can do it almost nationwide. But with the radio, you're only gonna have like maybe a couple miles wave radius of what's right around you.
Which one is rural? Which one is rural?
The ham radio, yeah, that's global. You can communicate with people anywhere in the world because it's mostly satellite.
That takes special training.
Yes, there's a special training for that through the Red Cross as well, or you can go online. There's a lot of different training, people doing it privately or commercial.
Thank you.
Oh, wait,
We don't have a date yet, but sometime in November, December, the counter-terrorist division of the department will have representatives that are going to come out and present a seminar on active shooter. So if anyone wants to take my email address, we have a plan set that they set up, we want to happy to send me a seminar in November.
yeah, you can actually ask them about that one, so there is a position on.
I will do that. I do not have this.
Yeah, it's Brenda, at
Brenda, repeat that, please. Could you repeat that, please, Brenda?
Brenda.Rodriguez
LAcity.org. Thank you. Jacoma.
It's not really a question. I'm just sorry. I used to work for the Department of Mental Health, and I organized the training of clergy on the different aspects of different areas of mental health. But what you might be interested in is de-escalation techniques. What do you do when somebody is in front of you and is on a heightened anger? You know, what do? You can call 911, but while waiting for 911, just like CPR, what do? There are certain techniques to de-escalate the situation. And so we do training. I'm no longer with the Department of Mental Health, but they still have a person bureau, and they could be, doing some training on the de-escalation techniques. They're simple techniques, but we need to know what to do so you don't stoke the anger, you don't make things worse. Pardon? Can you stop that? Yes, this is Speakers Bureau by Department of Mental Health.
And what would be the email to get that information? Is it on
It might be on the website,
Okay.
but if we have a connection, I would be more than happy to reconnect with the Department of Mental Health and get them to come.
Brenda's the person to talk to.
Yes.
Voice, ballroom voice.
After you have a event at the university, then you have taken. The state has a program called v20231012 that a lot of people don't seem to know about, which helps as emergency assistance, relocation benefits, and to help people to recover after something has happened. Mostly it's known when you have a like drive-by shooting. The mortuaries know about this program. The program helps pay for funerals, but it pays a lot more. So you can find information. They have a lot of information at calvcb.org. But if you Google calvcb, you can find it. But
What's it stand for, Jacoma?
California Victim Compensation Board.
Thank you.
We definitely don't have more time for discussion because we have a good idea going on. Are there any final questions before we move on to public health for their hands? Yeah.
So on the topic of training, I mean, this is a great discussion. I gotta tell you, I'm a little surprised. So on the topic of training, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Island program, the Ready Your LA neighborhood. Okay, so just as houses of faith are those hubs for the neighborhood, but it's also, we got to worry about the neighborhood. So really quickly, what we would do is, in the best case scenario, the whole idea is to ground up, because we finally figured out that the top down doesn't work. Right? It always took us, I don't know how many hundred years. Finally figured it out. So we would like to come into the neighborhood, and we want to work it like block by block, literally block by block, right? And start putting a plan together on what that neighborhood is going to do on that bad day, right? And it would go everything from those first 9 steps about what you would want to do in your own home to secure your own home before you go out and start doing things like putting care centers together, or a gathering site, or even search and rescue teams, things like that. And you'll have, and this one is the skills and equipment inventory, big fancy name for who has what skills and what gear. right? Because in that moment, not everybody's gonna be able to be able to operate, right? So, and here's what I was talking about, response teams. So we would really appreciate the opportunity to come in to, whether it's a church, somewhere in the neighborhood, doesn't really matter where, but in order for that block, that community to be able to figure out a plan for when a bad day happens. And if anybody was in the military, right, somehow I got a feel, yeah, that's what I thought. You'll hear a quote that says that plans are nothing, but planning is everything. And there's another quote that says, no plan survives first contact. Okay? Because you've always got to be able to adapt, but you've got to be able to adapt from something. Okay? So that's the whole point of the Ryland Red Deer LA Neighborhood Program.
Just say that slower, please. We have people tuning in from around. Say that slower, please.
I've got 3 people talking. I will be ready your LA Neighborhood or Ryland program.
.org? What, the website?
No, that's just the program that you can get it at ready.lacity.org.
Thank you.
.gov, yeah.
ReadyLA.org works.
Ready your LA Neighborhood.
I'll write it here.
Thank you. Log my email address, please.
Yeah.
I sent everything. Thank you.
And yes, we'll absolutely send it out to you.
Could you speak out your email address, please?
My personal email
If
address.
that's where,
Pope, P-O-P-E, at lacity.org.
thank you.
Sir.
This is what I do with the cliches. I like to listen. They're talking to you. If you stay ready. That's right.
If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I like that. Absolutely.
We got riots in LA. What are the big issues right after a kid? Like food. Even the officers are doing their tactical alert and then patrol 24, 48 hours straight. That became an issue of getting people nourishment, food, water, so they continue to operate. So I was wondering, like during the pandemic, the food banks were became perfectly. Where are the food banks? And many of the houses of worship became like sub food banks to the bigger food banks. So I wanted to mention that food and water and a big element of how people survive after the disaster.
Yeah, so the food bank, you can talk to someone that can speak to that, because that's not. But you're right, so there were so many supply chain issues. I worked with the hospitals and the clinics during the pandemic. Fun. Very fun. But we were trying to get N95 and trying to get shit from several locations. But I mean, the supply chain issue is huge, right? So we can expect that for any major disaster. Especially something that is catastrophic, right? That it impacts so many people in a large area, right? And LA County is huge. We're 10 million deep, right? It's really dense. So
11.
yeah, so it's pretty big. If there was a disaster, it would be.
When, not if.
When? Well, I'm a geologist, I can also tell you don't know what.
We need. After and as with the place, we would go into the meeting with the what's going to be because their facility will not be secure and going to be ready. So we have an agreement that we would go in glean, make a list of what we have taken, and then be able to bring them into the church because that's what people come in because we're invested. So local stores, they're going to be looted, right? So we're just going to loot it, make a list. But we get protection. But at least it goes.
And you won't destroy the property.
And we won't.
Full questions, and our friends from.
talk about the training of the food bank. When they come in and train us about the food bank, and they train us how to set up food bank.
We'll see, because we have to. Michael, is the Michael flood?
Right, so,
We have to find a contract.
I think that's a,
Yeah, we'll find the contract and we'll bring that. Alright, so let's do it.
All right. Are y'all ready for me?
Of course. So are we.
We are gonna teach you handling CPR today. It is only compressions. If anyone wants a full class about CPR, from how to do CPR for babies, little kids, adults, that's a 3-hour class through the Red Cross or American Heart Association or LA Care. LA Care does it for free. And you guys have a handout that I gave you in your handouts, where it has a list of all the LA Care facilities for a full free class. But today we're only gonna do CPR, okay? And that's because handling CPR is no rescue breath. You don't have to put your mouth to anyone else's mouth, but you are actually able to save them, right, through that. So what's this all about? The county has a campaign called the Heart Heroes Campaign. We have a website. We are trying to train 500,000 residents in handling CPR by December 31st.
Of what year?
Of this year, 2023. A lofty goal, right? But it's a lofty goal because we really need it. We have 10 million
11.
of people, right? And a couple reasons that we have seen, I just want to bring them up, is that we have an aging population. We do. We have an aging population, right? So teaching everybody handling CPR is really a goal to be able to save a person's life, right? At your church, if someone has a heart attack, you're not just gonna call 911 and stand there and wait, right? Because that does happen. You all know it too, right? Right? So we want people to be able to say, hey, I know handling CPR, I can intervene, and I can help while we're waiting for the ambulance. Cool. Okay? So that's one thing. The other thing is that during COVID, we also learned something else. We have residents that live in multi-generational housing. Grandma lives with the grandkids, there's like 3 generations living together, right? We live in a very crowded place. And so by teaching our residents how to do CPR, one of us in this room will one day perform CPR on a family member or a friend. Okay, or someone in your congregation. That's the statistic, right? So if you learn it today, you will be able to maybe save someone when the time comes. And it's for yourself, because it's most likely going to be your family member. Let me give you the stats. More than 350 cardiac arrests occur outside of the hospital each year in the United States. All right. 70% of these cardiac arrests happen at home. That means that you're home, you're cooking turkey dinner, you're doing something, and then something happens.
Excuse me.
Right? So what you're learning today is not just for your congregation, you're learning it for yourself. And we want you to teach your family, because honestly, they might be saving you money, right? And I'm selfish, so I want to save. All right. So in addition, 16.3% of cardiac arrests happen in public clinics. That means it could happen at your church. It could happen at an outing that you have. It could happen at the school, right? And all of these situations, you want to be able to have the ability to be able to intervene. Okay. Why? It's because if you're at home and it's a family member, there's a couple things you have to know. One, if that family member is on a bed, right, and has a heart attack and stop breathing, you're gonna have to actually move the, are you all right?
No, I was just laughing at the idea, you trying to do compression in the mattresses.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and people actually do that, but they don't think about it. They're trying to handling, they're trying to do compressions on a bed and the bed is bouncing. You gotta take that person off the bed, slide them off the bed, put them on the floor, right? If for some reason you cannot do that, then go to the kitchen, go somewhere, get a board, you know, like cutting board or something, slide it under their body where their heart is, and then you can do compression. Not as good as on the floor, a hard surface, but better than just a bounce, right? So those are some, you know, that's really, really important, because we hear it all the time, that I tried CPR, but I didn't take them off. Right, so it's a very simple thing.
Can you use the sheet and then like make a hinge kind of thing, and you just line them on?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you have to get them on.
you have to get them on the floor, however you can get them on the floor. Right, or, you know, you've got helping families, stuff like that. Yeah.
Let me throw this in. Here's a little article about that. 80 years old, she put the big rang up, the last slide out. I trust me, if you don't know what you're doing there, you won't get on the field.
Yeah, you're right, there's a drama going there too. What we also know, I'm gonna go back to some of the talking points, is that we also know that only 40% of people receive any intervention at all before the ambulance arrives. That means 60% of people get zero intervention. They call 911 and then they just stand.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah, right? So that's problematic. Why? Because 90% of people actually die from this because there's no intervention. 90% of people who experience a cardiac arrest outside of the hospital die. So stats are not that good, right? There's a couple reasons why, and we're going to run over some of the reasons why people don't want to do this. And I'm gonna talk about that. One is that 31% of people are afraid of legal ramifications. Is someone gonna sue me because I touched them? Right? They're not, because we have the Good Samaritan law that protects you from the intervention, because you're trying to do good, right? So because you're trying to do good, if that person dies, they can try to sue you, but you know, you try to do good, right? And the Good Samaritan law actually came about. The story is, the legal story is that two ladies were driving their car, got into a car accident, right? One of the ladies was severely injured in the car. They were best friends. The friend took her out of the car, and that woman became paralyzed. She went and sued her friend, going, "Oh my God, she made me paralyzed." And they're like, "No, wait a minute, right? She saved her life. So yeah, you're alive because of your, so it was good to you. So that's the Good Samaritan, right? It's protecting you because you are trying to do good, all right? The other thing is that 24% of people think it's too complicated because they see it on TV. It's like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to breathe. I got to do all this stuff. And we're not training like that. And it's good for this because we want people just to do the compression. You're circulating the blood throughout the body with the oxygen and keeping the organs and heart, the organs, brain alive. Okay? And 15% have not been trained in CPR, right? But today we're gonna get your churches all trained up. So we're gonna get more people trained. And then 20% are afraid of hurting people. My thing with that is, you know, they're like, I don't want to break a bone. You may break a bone because it's a sternum or the breastbone, but breaking a bone is better than dead, right? That bone can heal, but if that person stops breathing for too long, then they expire, and that's the end of it, right? So 18% are also don't feel confident in performing this step.
That's why we have a wallet card that we're gonna be giving you guys, because we can give this to anyone you train. It has pictures and diagrams of how to do CPR. So if you forget, pull it out, have the pictures.
Is there a website on there?
Yes.
Could you read it out, please?
It's publichealth.lacounty.gov.
Thank you. Publiccounty.lahealth,
Publichealth.lacounty.
publichealth.lacounty.org. Thank you.
And then 14% don't want to give rescue meds. I get it. Who wants to put your mouth on someone else, right? And you're not a healthcare professional. So we're trying to say you don't have to do it. First 10 minutes, it's fine. No rescue.
So that means you are training us and we go back to the other trips and we train them? Or we ask you to come and train them?
Or both.
We're gonna give you guys mannequins. Everybody's gonna get a mannequin.
Yay!
Oh, this is, and these are inflatable mannequins. And you can actually train even your family members, right? Like, start small, but you can train your family members on how to do.
What is Annie?
Mini Annie is, I don't know, the American Heart Association on their, you guys are gonna get one. It says Mini Annie. This is Mini Annie, so. That's the name they named her. Yeah.
Can you do breathing with those also?
You can, but we're not asking people to do that. We're not training for them. Okay. So what is a cardiac arrest? A cardiac arrest is when the heart just suddenly malfunctions, and stops, right? Just stops beating. And because it stops beating, the blood that comes through your body and gives that oxygen that keep you alive stops moving the oxygen. So how long does it take before you start having brain damage? From the time that you stop breathing? 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes. If a person is not breathing beyond like 10 minutes or more, they're considered clinically dead. Because all the other vital organs stop working and everything starts. So what we are asking for handling CPR is for people just to do the compression, circulate that blood.
But call 911.
Of course, but call 911, but do that circulation of blood with the oxygen that's already in the body to keep the organ and the brain alive while you're waiting for it. So what's only handling CPR? Just compression, right? No mouth to mouth is needed for handling CPR. Because that's actually an aversion for most people. They don't want to do mouth. Okay.
And you don't have to count. No more counting.
Yeah, but it's 100 to 120 compressions per minute. You know how you go to your doctor and you're like, oh my gosh, your blood pressure is awesome. You're 100/60, right? You're replacing that 100 with compression. You're pumping it just like the heart would pump the blood. All right. And if you provide handling CPR, you can double or triple the chances of someone surviving just with those compressions while you're waiting for the end. So what is handling CPR? There's a couple steps, and then we're gonna demonstrate it. And we have Lester here who's going to will be demonstrating, all of us will be. But handling CPR is very, very simple. The first thing you want to do when you see someone down on the ground is you want to check your surroundings to make sure it's safe for you to be able to intervene. Right? A safe surrounding, then you can intervene. If it's not a safe surrounding, your safety is the most important. Okay. But let's say that's first. One of your parishioners had a heart attack, had a cardiac arrest, and is on the ground, next to a people, right? You're gonna be able to see that person. You're gonna pull them out. You're gonna or leave them wherever they are, right? If you have space, make sure it's safe. You're gonna tap them. Hey, are you okay? Right? If they go, yeah, I'm fine, you give them CPR? No, because they're breathing, right? they might have had a seizure of something and you would need to call 911, but they're talking and they're breathing. You go, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Non-responsive, right? Then, you know, usually on TV, they're like, oh, check the pulse. Most people don't know how to pulse, right? What we say is, put your hand over their mouth. You can feel on their nose or their mouth if there's a hot breath, right? If you feel the hot breath, that means they're breathing. Or you can look at the rise and fall chest, or you put your hand on their chest and you'll feel that heartbeat, right? If you feel that, no CPR needed, call 911. But if there's no breath, right, then you're going to have to what? Take out your cell phone, call 911, put it on speaker. So you could provide the compressions at the same time that you're talking to the operator. But even better, and the one I always suggest, is get someone else to call 911. Exactly. You go, you in the green shirt, call 911, come over here. Okay? And why do I say green shirt? Because unfortunately, we live in a community right now where we're all a little bit disconnected. People don't want to always help, right? So by identifying that person in the green shirt, you have made them feel a little obligated to come over, right? And that person will dial 911 and say, put it on speaker, come over here and help, right? Get another person, if it's in your church, another person, come help me to provide the compression. We're gonna do a 1-minute challenge today. You guys are gonna feel how hard it is to do this for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or however long you do it. You're gonna need help, okay? So once you say, call 911, put it on speaker, you open up the shirt, right? Or so that you can see where you have to identify where your hand has. So it's in the breastbone and the sternum, the way that between the nipples, or right around the armpits. That's the location. If you're too low, you're hitting the stomach, right? You can feel it yourself right here. There's a little soft bone right here in the middle. That's where you press. Okay. The compressions have to be 100 to 120 compressions per minute. And it's like the music that the Red Cross always uses is staying alive, right? Ironically, the DJs the same. That's the beat of the song. That's the beat that you need. That constant compressions. So you provide those compressions. The way that you do is you use the heel of your hand. You crisscross your hands together. You use your arms have to be straight. I'm a little short here, but and they're not on a table normally, right? But your arms have to be straight, and you do these compressions 100 to 120 per minute. All right, and you do that until the ambulance arrives. If you are at your church and you have an AED,
What's an AED?
an automatic electrodefibrillator,
Okay.
right? You know how you see it on TV. It's a little,
defibrillator.
yeah. They put these little stickers
Yeah.
on and jump starts the heart. It's kind of like a car starting, right? It's the same thing.
But you should know how to operate it.
But the defibrillators that are in most public facilities have instructions on them. So open the door, take it out. It actually gives you instructions and it talks. So it will say, put them in a certain place. And then once it's in the right place, you press the button, and then if you're in the wrong place, it says redo, reposition. Right? And then that will actually jumpstart the heart. And that is what will probably get someone back. Yes.
You said we find a bone. Do we have?
You don't have to find a bone. Underarm, underpit, right here, across.
But it doesn't have to be skin.
If you're doing the wrong place, above the nipples or below, you're hitting the wrong spot. Your hand is actually has to compress down to where the heart is. Because you're pumping the heart, you're replacing that pump.
I'm just concerned about someone on the floor in service. They're fully dressed in their Sunday family. Are we taking off their top?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We're not gonna completely take it off.
You don't have to. you just have to expose that part. Right? You just have to expose that part to be able to see where your hands are. Okay? And you do these compressions until the EMS arrives. So the idea about training your parishioners is that you have other people to replace you. Right? Because you're not gonna be able to do this for like 15 minutes. Right? Or however long it takes for EMS to come into the church, right? And to be able to be there, it's gonna take a little bit of time. So training your parishioners to be able to do this is the best option for all of them. All right? So, as I said, push hard down 100 to 120 beats per minute, stabilize the song that the American Heart Association uses. The compressions have to be deep enough, they have to be 2 inches deep. Okay, so if you're doing this, like you see on TV, it doesn't work. You're dancing. It's just like, yeah, I'm doing it. It's not that easy, right? So we're gonna have the experience on the mannequins today, so you have an experience with how it feels. The American Heart Association has a video. In your training material, there's information here about it. The QR code is down here for this training video. It's a 2-minute video about, it's a minute and a half actually, about what you can do for how to do ambulance CPR. As I said, if you have an AED at your facility, make sure everybody knows where it is. Because that's another thing that's really important, right? Because you could have it and nobody knows where it is. It's not important. All right. So I'm gonna go really quickly about reporting. Because we are training you today, we're going to be giving you mannequins, we're going to be giving you supplies. We have a registration, a training survey that we want you to complete as you're training people so that we can count you towards the money. Okay, so this is the online survey, the online reporting form. It's on this page here, there's a QR code. You're gonna be getting an email with all this information. As long as you signed up over there, we're gonna be sending you guys an email with all the information in your email with all the flyers. Once you get on this system, the first question is, and I apologize, we're super learning in the public health. So we got all these data people, and we're trying to make it simple, but we can't. The first question is, please enter it in the organization, you know, your church. What's the name of your church, right? Or house of worship. And then the next is your name. The third is your title at the church, at the house of worship, your email address, and then number 5 is where you are located or who trained, right? So it's more about where you are located. But Lester, who's back here and introduce himself, Lester is on the list. You can click on Lester and then you can move on to the next step, right? Once you've identified. Yeah, Scotland. Yeah, so after that, we request that all the trainers report monthly, right? And so we're in October, so for the month of October, you would report, I did 50 people, you know, I did for my church, then you would just input that information. If you're doing outreach events, you know, it's a yes or a no. And then I'm just gonna fill this in really quick because they won't let me pass unless I fill it in. But once you've filled in all this information, you can go to the next page. And the next page is how many, enter the number of outreach events and how many people you train, right? So if it's, let's say you've done it 3 times at church, then it would be 3, right? And then, the number of people, it could be 50 or something, however many you train. The 10th one, it's a cumulative number, it's a little harder, but maybe, you know, train 150 total since you started. And then the last one is optional, which is zip code. So let's say it's at your church every time, or your house of worship every time, then it'd be one zip code. But if you're going out into the community and doing trainings at the school and other places, then we want to be able to see where you're doing that by zip code. Now, the cool thing about what we're doing here, and this is really important, is that we have connected with EMS on this. So EMS, when the ambulance comes and picks someone up and they had a cardiac arrest, there's something on a form that says, they ask, did anyone intervene? Right? And they're gonna ask, did anyone intervene? It could be you intervened, right? So they check it off. And through time, maybe 3 years, 4 years down the road, we're gonna be able to see the fruit of our work. Yeah. Because they're gonna be able to say, hey, you know, in this city, 10% of intervention. And maybe it's 12%, like 2 years later, or it could be 15%. That says that the work that we've done is worth it. Right? That's pretty cool. I think it's awesome. Because we really want to do these things. And then optional is like anything, any information, anything that I wish you guys did this, you know, tell us, give us feedback, right? Phyllis is a terrible trainer. Give us feedback. So this is the survey that we have, and it's really just to have you report to them. So what we're going to give you, I mean, you don't have to commit to 150, commit to 50. Everyone here is going to get a mannequin today, right? If you need more, let us know if you need more, right? We can train more trainers for your education at your house of worship. And then you can do events, you know, Friday night, I don't know, teen night, you know, stuff like that. The training is for, the one thing is that, as I said early on, the people that you want to do hands-on CPR on are not babies and not little kids. They're teenage bodies, like, and it's kind of like a body of an adult, where that's where handling CPR works. Okay. So we will be giving you the CPR mannequin. You've got the training tool handouts today, and we're going to be emailing you that. We have wall of cards here that we'll also be giving to you. We have it in English and Spanish, but if you need Chinese or Korean, we have those as well that we can give out to you. So it's bilingual. The cool thing about these cards is that they're plastic. So someone can wash it in the washer, take it out, and still have it like 3 years later. When they actually need it, to go, oh my goodness, I had this training, you know, and be able to use it, because it's all about the hand position, 2 inches deep, 100 to 120 meters. Real simple stuff that can save someone. So the heart's not gonna stop. It'll start itself. Don't be afraid. All right, nobody should be. And give CPR is life, right? One thing I do want to say is that we are going to do the 1-minute challenge in the back there. If everyone can't go on the floor, we'll be doing some handling CPR here on the table. If you have any questions, ask them. You know, and my email is back there, and so Lester. And we're gonna do this 1 minute challenge. Yes. They need to come and train with us, because we want to make sure they know how to do it. You will be considered a trainer, but we will go and train other people, right? Because what we want to make sure is that they are doing it right. Okay?
Bottom line, is you really don't give it out there.
No, I mean, you could buy it at the American Heart Association for $40 a piece, but we're giving it out today.
But they do the training, the trainers.
If they don't want to give it out. At our. Doctors, nurses, we have a lot of nurses, so they're always like, that's how then.
Yeah, that's really good, but not everyone has that resource, right? I know that I've talked to one coworker whose mom is at, her family goes to a Free Church in Kingston, and everybody's like over 60. And there's a bunch of doctors and nurses, but they were like, let's get the young people trained. We gotta get the young people trained because I'm a doctor, but I'm an anesthesiologist. The last time I did something was like, 25 years ago. Yeah.
Is this training offered here for seniors in high school? In college?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to get the word out.
Yeah.
that would-
We want to, we really want to. So if you have a school that you want to train, if you have that connection, connect us and we will help. Like we were trying to talk to hey, the chess club, could they champion it at school, right? So we're very open because the reality is this. Everyone thinks that someone who has a cardiac arrest is old, but that's not true. That is not true. Look at Ronnie James, 18 years old at USC at practice, right? It is happening at different. So he's lucky because he's at USC on the basketball court. There's like a gazillion people, right? But that's not always the case. So we want to make sure that everybody knows how to do this. And the other thing is, and I'm from public health, so I'm going to say it. We're also seeing a lot of fentanyl issues, right? So that's another issue. So Narcan is another thing that you guys should be looking into. The libraries are actually giving some free clinics in the coming weeks. And anyone who does the training in the clinic will get a Narcan. It's for overdoses. It's the medication that helps them come back. It's a nasal. We'll train you how to do it. Yeah. So East LA, I think. East LA County, a few like Lenox Library. There's a few locations. They're giving these Narcan. They're giving these Narcan clinics and then giving out a free Narcan. And I suggest that we're getting more, our faith-based members get involved. So, are we all ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, in the back, how many should we have clustered back there? All right, let's go. Yeah. From back in the day. Yeah, they're like this. Right? Like, this is
Remember.
Oh, yeah. All right. Who's gonna train with me?
I think someone.
Okay.
What's your name now?
Alicia.
Can we do this first and then?
You guys see someone with probably your friends passed out, right? Boom. All right, now we want to make sure they're okay. We don't want them to start doing chest compression. You want to tap on them. Hey, are you okay? Are you okay? All right, remember feeling for breaths. Or you can try to listen, feel for breaths.
At the same time, looking for the chest, rise and fall. That's our normal breathing pattern. None of that is happening. But before we do chest compressions, what do we have to do? Remember? Who do we have to call?
911.
Right.
Somebody.
Or
Get
we are
somebody.
surrounded by people like this environment. Ask them.
Make sure you call 911 anyway.
911, please get back. A lot of times, yell it out. Respond, come back, we think 911 is on the way.
Yes, call them.
So now that we know 911 has been activated, you remember proper identification of the breastbone, across the nipple line, or this was the armpit, 3 fingers down below that line, get you to the same spot. Okay? Another important piece is the heel of your hand. You're gonna put that on the breastbone. You're gonna interlace your other hand on top. Get your shoulders above the mannequin. Lock your elbows, because we're gonna use our body weight. Let's push hard and fast. To the beat of Staying Alive. That's about 2 inches deep. Oh, I have to try to get
The shoulder, push down, shoulder. That.
You got good technique.
Practice.
I fall out. I'm
Say that one more time, slower.
That's it.
All right, so someone suddenly collapsed. All right, let's do our step. Hey, you okay? You okay? Listen, feel the breath. Yeah. No chest rise and fall.
And one of them can go
Call
off.
911. Find your location. Ready?
Which beat do we go to? That one or that?
Tired?
Breathe, breathe.
Don't forget to breathe yourself. Okay? 10 seconds.
Yeah, 1 minute, all right.
Ask for assistance. Right? Listen, may not go for another 10, 15 minutes.
That's right.
So that's one thing that's probably you could really have other people know.
Relay, yeah.
Somebody, I mean, I know when you're let your body weight, but if you're not. Yeah, okay.
All right. Training.
Now, look your hand. Identify across the middle line, so the very middle of your head, right? Sometimes we're not the same. You can take your arm, three fingers down. This one, the arm, go up. Yeah, above the mannequin with your shoulders. You're gonna lock your elbows, hard and fast. Yep. Exactly. You're gonna do that. The upper eye. Or by some miracle, restriction, wakes up. Or you can fire. You can rotate. Do you want to do the 1 minute challenge? Sure. The timer on. Right. Start from the very beginning. Someone fell down. Assessment. That's too deep. When you hang that leg, fully compress the heart. Push that all down. If that technique helps you have the endurance to keep going, you have to. Yeah, I'm in the second half. Can you breathe? In a real life scenario, you could do it for 10 minutes. So you will probably be needing some assistance. You'll probably be needing some assistance. Because your chest compression is going to be there. Challenge initially. There may be some damage stretches, like you don't have to do how's the feel like? Because this is a sport
I mean, we recently had that. So, I mean, like a couple months ago. Yeah. It's really great. Yeah. John. That's good.
Gotta go deep. All right. Well, no, yeah, you want to fill the- Yeah. At the same time we do it, we can always- Somebody else. Call somebody else. Just like the phone. You keep just replacing the phone.
Did they do the 1 minute challenge yet?
I'll give you all a little tidbit.
Wow. That's no small thing.
You only have 14 more minutes to go.
Okay, before everybody leaves, I wanna, there's another PPR song.
Oh, there we go.
That was created by somebody we knew and looked back, and he took his own PPR. His name was Michael Jackson. He wrote this song, he said, "Are you okay, Andy? Andy, are you okay? Are you okay? This is the thing."
Well, that's it. We're wrapping up here. Andrew Williams Jr. We're testing, or we're at the Emergency Operations Center, Los Angeles County. This is the Interfaith Task Force, and we're learning here CPR. Thanks so much for joining us. Talk to you later.